In exactly 2 months, we've taken this direct base shop from literally zero to we're on pace for 200 grand a month already. Like just starting. We're gonna have this thing up to $1 million plus a month for sure in the very near future. All right, what up, y'all? As you know, recently I decided to start building a new direct base shop, and I told everybody I was not only going to build it, I was going to help people make a bunch of money, and I was going to share it with all of you that don't work here, that just want to watch. So we're going to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what's happened in the last, I don't know, what are we, 4 or 5 weeks in to this process. We got a great crew coming on. If you go into our live dials, I think we had 15 people on at 10 p.m. last night in a live dial room. We were doing some dials. I was helping people book appointments. They were asking questions. I did a live interview, a recruiting interview. I think 2 or 3 of them this week, live in the Discord community. So if you're not part of that, again, johnwetmore.com/Discord, you can follow along. We're sharing everything openly. You can watch the team build. You can see all the things I'm doing to chat and talk to people and encourage people and train people, and I'm literally putting it all out there. Some of the cool things that have already happened. Giovanni and he came on. He's got a team of handful of people. I think they got 3 of them already doing over 30 grand a month. First month in. Some of the contracts are still transferring over, so it'll delay on issue paid, but we'll be sharing that along the way as well. I think his team is doing 50. I think they did 60 something grand last week as a team. We were pretty close to 100 grand already for the week. Submit, of course, will issue paid will obviously follow. But his group's doing 50K already. Heck, we talked about opening an office in Florida with him. I have 2 guys, Tyler and Zach, moving to Metro Atlanta to open an office here as well. One dude, beast background in alarm sales. Zach owned his own landscaping company, shut it down, sold it, and is starting this as well. He also recruited his brother who's coming on, who's a multi-six-figure earner in another industry, got licensed. He's coming on. And then I think we've been through May. We submitted as a team 172 grand. And compare that to April, I think it was like $12 for the base shop. As y'all know, we obviously have I think we did 18.5 million as an agency outside of the base shop last month. So I'm going to work on growing this thing pretty quick. One of the things I introduced, obviously a lot of people are coming in understanding the concept of who we are and what I do and the way I teach and who I'm looking for and what I want the team to be. I'm just super open about it. And seeing people come in looking to be pushed and looking for more and looking to be challenged has been fun for me. Because I don't have to beat around the bush with it. People are just begging for what I will do anything to make the kind of money that you've helped people make before. Just tell me what to do. So I'm giving them the playbook and the path, and they're running it. And it's been fun for me. One of the things we started doing, not till I think we started it in second week of June, maybe. We started doing live dials together in Discord and sharing it openly with the community. If you work here, don't work here, you can watch us. Now, if you work here, you get to live dial, get some feedback, participate, ask questions, conversate, things like that. If you're just part of the community of people who follow my stuff and are looking for training, you can get in and watch it. We do have a little bit of guardrails on it where we don't let you come in and ask questions on video and kind of interfere with the group's day-to-day activity. So you can watch it, but I refuse to allow outside forces slow people down from making money. So we blocked it off from new agents being able to live open in and ask questions and interfere. So, but it's out there and it's popping. From that, the main group, I don't know how many we've added to Discord. I don't know, what do we got, dude? A few hundred? We're pushing 300 people in Discord in a month. Not even. Hell, Giovanni came on within 2 weeks of working here. He built it. So one of the guys, I talk about bringing on team players, and we were talking about some of the things I wanted to do with the group and some of the ways I used to do it early on and communicate. But technology changes, right? And so Giovanni knew how to work Discord. He's young. Some of y'all probably know how to use it. I asked someone the other day, are you familiar with Discord? And his response was, I'm 22. Of course I do. I was like, oh, I'm 48, and that's the first time I've seen it in my life. So But it's popping. So the team's contributing to build that out. We have a community again for our internal team, people that are looking for help in all different ways. And if you're an agent in the space and you're just looking for other people to be around, to consume information, and you want to stay working where you're working, keep doing it. I don't care at all. Just like I keep sharing stuff all over YouTube and podcasts and every social media platform, you can come into Discord and be around other people who want to win in the space. Some people are choosing to come work here, which is cool, because they're looking for an opportunity, and some are just kind of hanging out where they are and doing their own thing. And so we're trying to help everybody win there. I think I mentioned this, but a lot of people always ask me about recruiting. So I'm like, well, hell, let's just get on and watch me do it. So I interviewed someone last night. I think it was it was after 9, I think, when that guy, were you on it last night? Dude, I was in there last night. Someone DM'd me on school, wanted to work with me. And then I sent him the Discord because I said I'd answer faster there. He got on Discord and he just by nature got into the live dial thing and started watching us. And I'm like, dude, weren't we just DMing? So I let him in. I had Giovanni change his access. So I let him in on video. I did the interview there. So I think 12 people, 10, 12 people were watching me do it live at, 9:30 p.m. So some of that as you're around those that are engaged and involved, I'll just pop in sometimes and make some cool shit happen. And again, let y'all watch it. My interview style is probably unique to most, but it works and I like it and it's transparent and it attracts the people I'm looking to work with. And I'm sharing it. So follow along. We started talking to an agent on Discord. I think you have this on video also. About some people balancing kind of work-life stuff, think what we got going on, how to handle the schedule and the lead flow and getting things started and at the beginning buying leads and figuring out what vendor to buy from and how many to buy and how many to work and do I do telesales, do I do one call close, do I book appointments, do I not book appointments, how do I piece it all together? And I'm working with a lot of people just direct on implementing that process for them and working with their schedules and the how-tos, how to actually execute the business, not just buy more leads and make phone calls like everyone thinks that do more means. There's a lot more to it. It's a lot deeper. But as I always say, it's not worth teaching you the details if you ain't doing the basics. So we have a great crew of people doing the basics, and now we're diving into another layer of, all right, let's start teaching this thing at a new level. We're teaching them how to close bigger deals, how to identify opportunities, how to identify bigger premiums, how to, control the process, the sales process and the psychology behind it, and how to set up appointments and the questions to ask to dive deep and get those problems so we can solve them with our product. And really teaching how to sell this stuff, not just from a very surface level, but diving in and listening to people do it live and giving feedback to people during calls, after calls, and again, it's from a standpoint of I know how to get people to issue 40K plus a month all day, every day, if you're willing to do the work. And these cats are doing the work. I think the industry's broken, and too many of you guys out there try to get people to sell 40K a month, and you allow them to not do the basics. And to me, it's I don't know, having your favorite. I think of I don't know if I want to say names, like Jamarcus Russell or something, who's first round draft pick and doesn't study the playbook and doesn't know the plays. It's eventually you get cut, and so I think far too many people let agents in with fantasy land desires to achieve big things and start teaching them the intricate details before they even do the basics that really lead them to success. So for me, it's a good combo. And I have a ton of people doing a ton of great things, contributing to the team, helping each other, challenging each other. Hell, we started at 7 a.m. I've always had this, I always started dialing at, not always, I transitioned from dialing at 8 or 9 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. to eventually 7 a.m. And I always had this little 7 a.m. club concept back in the day. So we introduced that to the new team and have challenged some people, and I have a ton of people on. Hell, we had one kid, 17, it was my son, I'll just be honest, 17 years old, 6:35 a.m. Eastern time, booked an appointment. Guy picked up, booked it, no problem. And we're teaching people that it's okay to go above and beyond and okay to get out of your comfort zone, and it's not that big a deal. So we have that. We got a 30-30 club getting started, meaning I have 30 presentation or at least appointments a week, 30 appointments a week, 30 recruiting calls a week. Get part of the 30-30 club, and that's if you want to build something big. If you don't want to build anything big, do less. If you do less and you're confused at why you're not growing, I'll remind you that you don't do the 30-30. So we introduced that as part of this thing. We've had a lot of conversations about lead spend and how to appropriately do it when you're getting started, to get started quick, to make money fast, to not have to sit around and wait for your next lead to come in, or not have people to call in the next hour, and do this thing the right way. And then most recently, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, the team training call. I dove deep into sales training, and had a lot of people the same day taking the info that we covered on the team call, very specific, detailed questions and process that they went in and implemented and had success and made sales. Hell, there were I think we had I think I saw 5 or 6 just yesterday from new people, over $2,000 premium policies approved, And I always tell people this game isn't that hard when you know how to play it. Just a lot of y'all are saying the wrong thing at the same time, or the wrong way, or in the wrong order, or whatever it is. And so I'm teaching structure as well as just the sales side. So keep following. I think we're going to give you a little bit of a preview here. Following my guy Reese in the office, who does all the media and all the stuff y'all follow. He's the magic behind it. I just sit here and talk my face off, and whatever y'all see, he does. So I think he's going to put some cool stuff together for you guys. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover. Oh, we're sharing leaderboards. They're out there. Those will be coming up. We have the activity tracker. A ton of people are using and seeing success from. And hell, by mistake, I started getting a little fitness following. As y'all know that follow, I do a lot of workouts to try to stop and not turn 50 or feel 50, because it's coming up on me soon. And I do a lot of crazy adventures and workouts and training, and I push myself in a lot of ways, not only mentally but physically. And I share a lot of that stuff, and we have a cool little Discord section with fitness, and people that I don't even know are in there sharing their fitness journeys, and we're challenging people to get healthier in life as well. So if you want to be part of it, join us, watch the stuff, click the links, follow us, do all the things. Later. I'll give you a couple updates on things that are working for us. I know Giovanni and I are definitely doing it really simply on Instagram. Dude, I started boosting posts. Dude, I got fucking 40 people this week hit me up. It's insane. It's so easy. You need nothing to do it. Granted, I'd say 40% of them are fucking idiots, but I get some good conversations, dude. I've had a handful of dope Zooms this week. Like, the guy I just got off a Zoom with was one of the smartest people I've ever talked to in my fucking life. And he came from boosting a post. It just puts it out to, I learned it's funny, we always get so worried about what to put on social because they're like, what will everyone think or whatever? Dude, almost no one sees your social, even if you have a following. Like, if I got whatever I got on Instagram, 10, 11,000, whatever it is, dude, sometimes fucking posts get seen by 200 people. So a majority of even your following doesn't see most of your stuff. And boosting it's cheap as shit. Dude, I'm getting 16 cents a click or something, whatever the hell it is, because we're putting people to the website, we're putting some to the workshop, and we're putting some to DMs. You can choose. Literally takes 30 seconds to set up, and you start getting people same day hitting you up. So if y'all are trying to recruit and you're not taking 30 seconds out of your day to post something and boost it, it's literally one of the easiest things you can do to get interest. And if you've seen any of my stuff or Giovanni's, it's not that deep. We just talk and hit boost. You can about say anything and they'll fucking respond. I know you had a few more this week too. Giovanni, you had a bunch. I think you were saying you were talking to, yeah?
Yeah.
It's sick. That's where the fucking income starts to go like this. It doesn't do that when you stay mediocre. It sucks. But when you pile it on, my income, I never saw 20,000 a month. I went from making 15 a month to 38 a month. It just fucking jumped. It skipped the 20s. And then I started going from 30s to 70s. I never made 45 grand. I skipped that stage because it was growing so much. You know what I mean? And it's hard to wrap your head around early. But this thing doesn't grow incrementally in the long run. You sell an agency. Hell, I made more in one day than I made in my entire career. You don't think the door knocks paid for part? You mean I didn't factor that in when I was out there getting no-showed. But that money comes too. And then when we have an equity event, I will again make more in one day than I've made in my entire career cumulative again. That'll happen twice in my career now. You know what I mean? It's like, y'all, that's future stuff. It all starts with being consistent, Abe. That's it. Being consistent, Anthony. Being consistent, Tyler. Rain, Giovanni, Zach. It's just that's it. That starts the fucking journey. You know, it's the old analogy of getting a rocket ship up. All the hard work's at the beginning. After a little while, dude, they just fucking floating in space pretty easy. You know? So I harp on the importance of that, man. And it's with everything. Every piece of this requires consistency. Build a team internally, build staff internally, ask Amanda. Oh, dude, we're going through it now internally. She's fucking losing her mind. She's stressed out, got the twins, vacation. She's doing this. I meant holiday, not vacation. You know what I mean? And like, we're trying to build internal systems for the growth we're having internally. It's hard as hell too, but we're piecing it together. And every day we're meeting on it, every day talking about it, every day putting things in place. Imagine if I was inconsistent with that. The whole fucking company fall apart, you know? Y'all eventually would be like, well, fuck him. We'll go work for this guy over here. Imagine if I didn't show up every week. You'll be like, what a dick. You know what I mean? Imagine the carriers didn't pay consistent. Hey, how'd you feel about that, Abe? Imagine the carriers did what you do during your week. They're like, you know what? I don't want to dial today. I'm going to shut it down at 2:00 today. I fucking deserve it. Hey, what if Mutual of Omaha said that before they process your commission? You going to be fired up? Be like, yeah, I get it, dude. I'm with you. I like taking days off and being independent too when I want to. Do it, Mutual of Omaha. Y'all don't like that shit. I'm like, oh, funny. Put the shoe on the other foot, Giovanni. They don't fucking like it. You know what I mean? Hey, what if your girlfriend was inconsistent in calling you? Inconsistent in dating you exclusively? You know what I mean? Like, we don't like that shit. So it's just perspective, man. You know what I mean? Not letting people lose sight of that, how much control they have over this. Nope.
Yeah, can I ask another question? We gotta go.
I'm fucking as long as you want.
All right, another question
I'm
is,
going home to sit by my pool when we're done with it.
you kind of already answered it, but like, so I was gonna ask you, like, when getting a new agent started, what's the best way to get them going? But would it just be having like yeah. So which would be them looking at their activity and telling them how much activity to put in?
What's the biggest any part of the process once someone gets contracted? Where do you lose people the most? What stage?
Waiting for contracts, usually.
Once they're contracted.
Oh, getting them on the phones working.
Phones. It's where you lose everyone, bro. Phone day, everyone changes. It's like everyone wants insurance till you fucking show pricing before you do the presentation right. They go, fuck, they all say I want to think about it. Well, everyone's a superhero and wants to get rich in insurance, so it's time to work. Right? So for me, dude, it's as fast as possible, get them on the phones. I'll share this with you. I mentioned it last week and told you to remind me, and you forgot, and I forgot.
No, I remember. I had it in my fucking
I know what it is, though.
Yeah,
So,
I did too.
You know what I'm going to tell you?
The Braden dialing thing.
The what?
Braden, your son, new agents dialing
so
thing.
he's dialing. So Braden's dialing now. He's 17, not even licensed. Have him dialing. People are closing deals for him. So now he's like, oh, who else can I dial for? So he's gonna start dialing for some people. If people want like someone, he's like, I'll do it. You just got to pay him because he's around me and he likes money. So, but with that said, I was talking to a guy the other day, and I used to try to implement this internally, and I had some fights from people with it. Amanda's gonna laugh because I have flipped a couple staff meeting tables a couple times, like pissed off because people didn't listen to me. I always wanted to, when I was new with the agency, I would always try to get people dialing before they were licensed or contracted. And one of the dudes that I was kind of working with to build it early always didn't want to do it. And I always wanted to punch him in the face. But I was talking to another guy, we were joking about it. His whole business model is that he has much more of they come into the office, they're working the phones. He has part LOA and part not LOA, but it's much more of a structured environment, more than you sit at home and dial. And 100% of his new hires he will not contract them if they don't dial and book appointments for a current agent first. He will not start them. Their job is to book agent. Their first, it's much like solar. And I don't know if they do this in your world, Tyler, but in solar world, there's someone that goes and books the appointments and someone goes and closes it. Like at first, you can't do both. You got to knock the door and book the appointment first, set it up. And so this dude has everyone that's new start, because you can dial without a license. You can't take the whole app, but you can do enough of it. You can do a certain percentage of it. And he would take people and have them get on the phones and start dialing leads before they get started. That's a prerequisite to work with him. If you don't get on the phone and dial leads and book appointments for someone else, you can't work here. You know? And I'm like, how's it work? He's like, it's fucking dope, dude, because you know who's full of shit and who's not. And then they compensate the person with lead credit. So if they book X amount of appointments, it's like $50. There's tiers. If they book it, it's $20. If they make a sale, it's $50, whatever it is. But they make tiers to it. So one, I would be implementing that if I were you guys, for sure. If I were hiring brand new direct today, people that were new, you'd be on the fucking phones. You know what I mean? It's just like, otherwise, why mess with them? And so, meaning to get people started fast, that's always the fear. So if during that period of time where they're going through class and they're waiting for their license and they're waiting for contracting, dude, they can be on the phones, bro. And if they don't get on the phones, quit them. Quit them. Our game is the phones. You know what I mean? So you can get them paid quicker if they're already through that process before they can do that process on their own fully. Does that make sense? So it's, again, getting them paid fast, but that's a way to get them paid faster, because day one on the phone won't be day one. You know what I'm saying? And they'll already know how it works. They'll already be excited about it. They already see you making the fucking commissions when they're not making it because they can't, because they're not licensed. So Matt Braden was mad about last week because the guy who he sold like fucking 10 grand and wanted to give him $50 and he was pissed. And I'm like, all right, what did that teach you? He's like, well, not to fucking dial for him. I'm like, no. Dude, supply and demand, bro. Where's the demand in this? Why doesn't he have to pay you a bunch to dial? He's like, because he can pay people $3 an hour in the Philippines to do it. I'm like, yeah. Same reason why fucking McDonald's don't have to pay a lot up for the person to run the register. They can get literally fucking anyone to dial. Anyone can dial. Mutual of Omaha has the product. The client exists. Name a carrier. They have the product. The client exists. They don't really want to fucking sell direct. They need us. And until you have a license, bro, you ain't us. Mutual of Omaha don't need you. They need me. They need a guy like me with a license. You know what I mean? So the guy with the license makes the money. Should the dude who you booked it for hook you up better? Bro, I would have. I didn't give you a fat fucking tip. But that ain't me. I also have to remember how many of his leads did you dial that didn't book, that he didn't charge you for. So don't miss that side of the coin. You know what I mean? So I had to teach him the concept of the business. But dude, when Braden's 18, he's going to make some fucking money. He's going to have 7 months of dialing under his belt.
If you're an insurance agent and you feel like you're stuck, you've hit a wall, you're trying to figure out sales strategies, the scripts to use, how to get like off the ground and get to that top of the leaderboard type status, I have a course that I've put out, super affordable. I'm getting a ton of great feedback from people every day on the strategies they've learned and been able to implement, from goal setting to sales techniques to calendar scheduling, everything you would need to get your business off the ground and get running quickly. jwcourse.com, click the link below and get in there today.
You know, and he's 7 feet from me. I don't train him a ton, just a little bit right now. Right now, I'm just letting him fucking get reps. So it's getting people started fast, and that's a tip. And I think from there, Giovanni, is like not overcomplicating this. No different than when you get objections. You know how you just kind of brush them off? When agents want to know everything under the fucking sun, Zach, I just brush it off. Kick the can down the road a little bit. They don't need, even if I gave them the knowledge now, they wouldn't know what to do with it. So it's not being a dick. I know, and I always have to say this. I know what you need when you need it. If you start thinking when you need it, you're going to fuck up. I just need you to trust the process. And that's what he's been really good at. He goes, I really need it. No, you don't. Okay. Go back and do his thing, which I like. So it's getting people to understand, to trust the process too, Giovanni, because they're going to want to know how to do 7 steps ahead. And I have to always go like, nah, dude, not yet. You ain't ready for that yet. You know what I mean? So get them paid fast. That's a kind of rewind on how to get them paid fast and just the thought process about it, dude. Because once they're paid and then you want to keep someone straight up, get them an override. You want someone to stick with you and not fucking quit, get them an override. Yo, I can make 10K a week, but I won't dial. But yo, you take away that $174 fucking override once a week, they'll lose their mind, bro. They will lose their mind, dude. So you start teaching people to get some volume under them, they start making $1,500, $1,000, $500, a couple grand a month. They don't quit, dude. You know what I mean? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
I know on my mind, I keep thinking about, I'm gonna end with this. Giovanni and Tyler, I keep thinking about the open and office conversation we had. I ain't fucking forgot. I'm just waiting for y'all. So, but I keep wondering when it's happening.
What are you waiting for?
You
To do what? To figure it out?
No, what did we left with? You were supposed to get some info on offices around you and get some pricing. We were gonna look at it.
Oh, are you sure we left on that?
I'm 100% sure.
No, I don't think I remember everything you
That's
tell
a
me, bro. I
discussion?
don't remember that shit, bro.
Nah, because
I would have remembered that shit.
Listen, hey, we talked about you looking at those. I talked about Tyler, the same thing. Getting those like shared office spaces, looking at pricing of those things.
I don't think you told me to get the fucking pricing, bro.
Bro.
I would have remembered some shit like
All right,
that.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How else, what would be the next step in the process where you're currently at to get an office?
Looking at the
Pretend
fucking
I didn't
offices.
tell you.
Looking at the fucking offices.
What would the next step be?
Looking at offices.
So you've still not done shit.
Well, so no, hold on. No. My next step, what I've been fucking doing is trying to find an area where like the team I have can go because we're all so fucking separated. That's what I was been doing. Like, where is like a halfway
that's,
decent
that's like a new agent
Fuck that.
to figure out what area to run leads in.
town?
You know
Fuck
what you do? Yeah, I'll tell you the trick. Ready?
Yeah.
You build the office convenient for you, and they'll come. Build the office wherever the fuck you want it, bro. It's your office. Hey, Anthony wants to make it, he'll make it. Someone else wants to make it, they'll fucking make it. You're the one that's making money. You're the rich one. Remember the part? You got the money. You make the fucking call. Make it 3 minutes from your house if you want it. Who cares? You know, I have the shortest commute in my office on purpose. You know what I mean? Amanda got a little closer this past month. She finally moved, but she's still 30 plus minutes away. But even agents, dude, when I built early on, when we had no one here, dude, people were driving 3-4 hours every fucking Monday and Thursday to come to my office, much less 20, 30, 45 minutes an hour. Dude, everyone was an hour away. I had people coming in from out of state every Monday and Thursday, dude. You know what I mean? If you're showing people how to make a bunch of money and all they got to do is come to your office and they don't want to come, find more people because they'll come. They will fucking come.
Yo, wait. Hold on. Before you leave.
Are you still unclear on the next step?
No, I got it. Look for offices. What's the next step after that? What are we looking to do?
Hey, you know me well enough to know when you're done with that step, you call me and I'll give you the next one.
All right. Got it.
Start there, bro.
All right. I will.
All right. Can y'all see the month one right now? The month to date? Did that come up?
Yeah.
I don't know if the numbers are exactly right. This is just what y'all submitted. She had a killer month, but apparently you beat her by about an app, basically, even though she has more apps than you. 36 grand, Giovanni. Submit for the month, looks like. And again, if y'all are counting to the penny, might be off a little. So don't hate if it's not. Brian, is yours right, dude?
Yeah, that's off a little bit, John, by the way. I'm at like 38 or 37. But
yeah, it's just what was submitted through the thing. And again, it could be the beginning dates being off, us figuring it out. So it might be off a touch. Brian, yours right, dude, or you just not been entering them? I hope you sold more than $2 grand this month. You and Cordell let me outsell y'all. That's bad.
That was my month.
Yeah, Zach and Tyler part-time, $4 grand. Who's Brandon? Do I not know Brandon?
my team, yeah, you'll know.
Have I met him or no?
No, nah.
Cool. I'm gonna keep moving. Dig it. Abe over 30. Nice work. Anthony, Kyla, Giovanni. Next stop, we're going to create a 40K club in our group. Question is, who's going to hit it first? And it's funny, you can even see, for the most part, mine is Brian. The AP is in order by the appointments. It's not that deep. I know some people probably didn't put them in. So Brandon, if you want Tyler, Zach, if y'all Cordell, if y'all want your stuff tracked, just put it in weekly. We'll start keeping up with it. But top 4, exactly the top 4 in appointments too. It's fucking no coincidence. Anthony, if you're really writing 30K off 30 appointments, bro, you got more appointments? How many appointments you got?
It was more. I just started tracking the last week.
Cool. Is it more or less than 100?
I think it's definitely less than 100.
So
it's probably even less than Kyla's. Quite frankly, I'd probably be in the 70s, maybe high 60s lowest.
Cool. Good conversion, bro.
I appreciate it, man. It's been a long time, not a long time, but it's been hard work getting back to where I was. I'm still not even where I was completely, but I'm getting there.
Figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't easy to do juggling babies, bro.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a different variable added. It's definitely been a different variable, but we're working with it. I have the support system. My wife is amazing, so
it's good. I love it, dude. I mean, hey, I can't help if we go. Imagine if it were double, you're at 50 easy.
Yeah, I'm really gonna have to lean into myself more than I did last time around because I had a very limited mindset when I started running and hiring at the level I was at, to where it really hindered my running. Like I would shoot for like anywhere around 6 to 7.5K in my own pen, and I was trying to get downlines, but I can easily push that further and higher all at the same time with just tweaking a few things and seeing and stop limiting my mindset. That's it.
Love it. What's the goal for June?
I would say a minimum 30K, and I need to up my activity hiring. I just recently did baby things, and I've already gotten like 4 people trying to talk to me that I'm setting up, but I need to up that and get that in the habit of that. So Gio's been showing me his email trick, and I'm gonna start with that activity and master that, and at least send out 1,000 emails per day minimum, trying to get some new downlines.
Yeah,
because that's the name of the game.
And his social, dude, he texts me. It feels like sometimes every 20 minutes. Got another one.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing, dude. That's exactly what I've been seeing. I'm like, whoa. Then it's really, you don't see things in this business until 3 months. You let things bake for 3 months, and you start seeing the little kind of, I guess, droplets trickle in, and then it turns into a whole fountain. So it's staying consistent and getting uncomfortable doing something that I'm obviously uncomfortable with doing.
Yeah, the getting paid part is the part that takes a few months from the overrides, but you can start getting people to talk to almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Kyla changed her content a little. I saw the month in review one. I noticed that came out a little bit first time. I think first time putting anything about the business out, right? You get anything off that yet?
I've got a couple people message me, but yeah, I plan to continue doing it, and it's fun, so why not?
I agree. Casually laying around, issuing 30K, hiring people.
Literally. It'd be nice.
Love it. It's how it works. You know, this thing it works the same on the building side as it does on the selling side. The consistency of it. And if you cannot overthink it, just like we tell agents not to overthink the selling side. Just don't fucking think the hiring side, dude. The people that, quite frankly, you're going to attract, hell, a majority of the people that have their license, just any of you selling halfway mediocre, you're doing more than most insurance agents already. Much less 30K plus. You're smashing the average insurance agent. You know what I mean? So it's like the average human that's out there watching, scrolling TikTok, even making an extra few grand a month is significantly better than most people are doing. So the more we talk about it, the more we make this thing simple, the more people are going to come and go, oh shit, if those idiots can do it, so can I. And that's kind of what we want, because I don't think anybody's confused that once you figure this out, it's not that deep. Some just figure it out quicker than others. That's the reality. Cool. Other thing I was going to say, if y'all, let me stop sharing that. Any questions on any of that, numbers, leaderboard, anything there before I'm going to kind of change up, but if anybody has any questions on that specific, let me know. Recruiting stuff. I'm going to start putting those in. Giovanni had 9. Looks like Brian had 9. I didn't put mine in, but I think I probably talked to like 6 people last week myself, something like that. And then Giovanni, this has got to be a high everything for y'all. I assume you didn't finish all your stuff. You had to send it to me, but high.
The thing you told me about that you paid?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't finish it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Not done. Yeah. We're gonna start if you guys haven't yet, again, a lot of people are newer, fine. But if you've been around a minute, I like to also what I told Giovanni to do, and this is something I like doing just with everything I do, is always to look backwards at stuff every once in a while. Certainly I told him to compare May to April just to see deposits, personal paid, team paid. Like, why not compare to a month ago? Sometimes I tell people not to get too up or down about it either way, because you can have a good month, a bad month, whatever. But I'm like, you should compare to January. Go see what it looks like compared to January. You know what I mean? Any of you could do that and go, shit, if you're feeling bad about yourself, see where you were, 5 months ago or whatever. My guess is going to be significantly further along if you're putting in work every day. I know his shit's gonna. It's been different just in the last 30 days. I imagine 5 months. I can't wait to see what his numbers look like. And I think that's everything in life. If I looked at my health or how much fucking distance I can run, or my weight, or my body fat, or my diet, when I put in work for 5-6 months, you look backwards and you're like, holy shit, look at everything I've accomplished. But when I stare at it every day, I don't feel like I've made gains. But when I look back to how far I could run, or how much I could lift, or how long I could do whatever workout, I'm like, holy fuck, I'm like a world difference than just a few months ago. Especially if they've been in the business for more than 9 seconds. And everyone on the fucking planet says, I ran more leads, made more phone calls, I bought more lead flow. Everyone says it. And then someone isn't doing it. I'm like, was it really the info? Or is it the choice to just not execute with that info? And I've never had someone convince me that they didn't know the info. So I'm like, all right, well, if you know the info on what it takes for you to get to the next level, can I just be the guy that asks you what the fuck you're waiting for? Can I just play that role? You already know what it takes to get where you say you want to go. You know the next step you have to make. And you're still struggling doing it. So Giovanni, dude, it's like, what can you add to that? Like, what can you say that's going to get them out of their way? There's not a ton, dude. And what I've learned is not only will they trick themselves into saying it's the lead, or it's this, or it's the other, they'll also trick you into training them more while they do no work. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. If a client was sitting there fucking hemming and hawing about not wanting to buy insurance, but kept wanting to talk to you, would you let them? Fuck no, you wouldn't. What would you do? Clients talking your motherfucking face off, dude. They will not buy insurance. I ain't buying, but I want a friend. In fact, I want to bitch about my granddaughter. Tyler, Anthony, Kyle, what are y'all doing? Giovanni, what are you doing in that case?
See you later, my buddy. I'm out of here.
Okay.
Gotta go.
If we change the circumstance and I remove client and I insert the word agent, now what are you doing? You begging them? Or are you going, I gotta go. I got a bunch more people who want to work their fucking face off. And I just chose that path for me, dude, and it kind of works. And I'm not mean about it, just it is what it is. And I just think there's enough good people out there that want to kill it that we can all do that.
And we can be nice about it. And we can be respectful about it. And we can be positive about it. And we can leave the door open for people to make a change if they're ready to make a change. But just understand when you come in another room full of winners that think different, dude, it's going to feel different. It's going to be uncomfortable, you know? But I don't think anyone is confused that although it's difficult, when you get through it, oh, bro, one, it gets so easy. And two, you have a skill set they can never take away after that. Once you have the skill set, unless you just turn into a fucking crackhead and don't do this anymore, like it's hard to lose. You can lose some momentum now. That sucks. But the knowledge, it's just executing on it, dude. So I just try to keep it there, man. And, you know, as we build this more and people start seeing more clients, seeing more scenarios, bringing more people on, my hope is it'll be a lot more situational questions. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I think from its core, watch Tyler's volume. Y'all are confused. Watch Tyler's volume in the next 2 weeks. He's going to there's only two options. He's going to sell a motherfuck ton of insurance, or he's going to like want to hang himself because he spent $3,000 and didn't do the work. There's probably not another path in the middle. There's probably not a middle ground with as aggressive as he was. You know what I mean? It's going to be cool. Zach, this is your week too, ain't it, Zach? Next week. You're next week. That's right. Yeah, he's muted. He's driving. Don't crash.
Yeah, next week.
Same plan.
Same plan.
Easy work, dude. You start
sending
talking
the
to
map?
people. Hey, Giovanni, start talking about people spending $3,000 on their first week up front, dude. People just say yes and do it. You know what I mean? And it is the easier path to money. It's a way easier path to money than putting in $400. That's for sure. You know? So it's like a lot of that has to do with the beginning, bro. And being okay telling people that, because it scares the shit out of some people. I'm like, all right. I mean, it scared me too to talk about making this kind of money, but I did it and it worked and I like it. And it's worth it. You know? So go out and change your situation. And now are the times where y'all get to build your stories. You hear everybody else's stories. Y'all have seen positive stories. I sucked, I had no money, and I climbed out of it and I built to a millionaire. Anyone ever not heard that story? Everyone's heard it, right? Go build yours. You know, now's the times that you'll get to look back on and be like, yo, remember that time I was sitting in my PJs with the baby doing a training and I was trying to figure it out. And then fucking next month I turned it on. And the first time I spent 3 G's, I was scared as shit, but I knew it was going to work. You know what I mean? Like, y'all have your story right now. I'm going to give you guys kind of the plays that worked really good to build something massive, and y'all run it the way you think I would run it if it were me. If you want to win big, and you run it the way you would run it if you want to keep doing what you're doing, you know? But one of the best things we ever had was that vibe of challenging people to get on early, which, you know, isn't really that early when you understand it, and making it normal. You know, so as new agents come in, to see that we were in there making phone calls and making sales at 7 a.m. was just, this is what happened when you hung around me. And the more of you that go in there and get that stuff out of the way, the better. I certainly know some people have a little bit of a mind block with it. Other people tend to have a hard time with it because when you're independent and you do what we do, you're typically home in the morning around whoever's in your life in the morning. And a lot of people let that shit get in their way. What I would challenge you to do is to think about, if you had the opportunity right now, if you just, I don't know, sat down for lunch somewhere and accidentally sat down next to a dude who was loaded as shit and was like, yo, you want to make $250,000 this year? And for those of you that doesn't excite, like Giovanni, who I don't really need to push, but if you need me to use pick whatever number you want that you think you're capable of making here if you are on all cylinders. Right? You want to make $500,000, Anthony? Like, just imagine you sat down to a dude who was loaded and had an opportunity, and you had to go home and go, yo, I just got this fucking opportunity. You ain't going to believe it. I have the ability to, this dude's put me on payroll at $500,000 a year to run his fucking company, but I have to start at 6:30 a.m. Do you think anyone in your world would say that's a stupid idea?
No, I'd want to start earlier if I could.
Okay.
Yet the dilemma of you have that ability here, and there's nobody knocking down dials that early. You know what I mean? It's like, so we're gonna put together a live dial room, but it's like I am going to challenge you guys to get out of your comfort zones around whatever's holding you back from the time you know you need to put in. All right. And I'm not confused that if someone had a job making a hell 80 grand a year, you'd be like, boo, I got to start at 5 a.m. You know, I was in Walmart the other day, which I never go to. I fucking don't like Walmart at all. But Maddox needed to pick up. We were trying to get Steph like a Mother's Day card, like Friday or Saturday night, like a day or two early. And he had baseball the entire day, Saturday, Sunday, so we couldn't do it. And it was after his baseball practice. It was a Thursday night because it was after baseball practice at 10 p.m. And Walmart's the only thing open. So I go in and it closes at like 11. And I think we got there at 10:40. And it comes on. You ever been in that thing where it's like, attention customers, Walmart will now be closing and blah, blah, blah. It did that thing at 11. If they close at 11, they said. But then it immediately said, and we will reopen at 5 a.m. All right. I was like, who's the average employee at Walmart? Yo, and they're getting up to get to work at 5 a.m. They start at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? And I see most people enter this space like mess up, man, and sleep in and mess up and let their family be like, it's hard to start early. I got the kids. It's hard to start early. My wife needs this, that, or the other. It's hard to start early. We got this. But if it were in a different dynamic where you had to drive your ass to a job and report to some dude, your entire family would support you because you'd have benefits and a 9 to 5 and a check every Friday. All right. So it's like y'all gotta battle that dynamic because I know if the circumstance changed, it wouldn't be a battle. All right. So I see a lot of people, Giovanni, get into this thing and want really big results. Really, they want riches and they want to change their life and they want to be able to provide for their family in a way like never before. And the people at Walmart are getting up earlier and getting started on their career earlier than you are. You know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck. What do you do with that dynamic except point it out and let y'all make choices? You know, I'm going to be the one to challenge you guys for sure. You know, but at the end of the day, dude, some people are going to do it and some aren't, and that's okay. But I'm going to certainly remind everybody that we come here to get rich. We don't come here to work at Walmart. So as we start recruiting, people are going to follow based on what they see y'all doing. And as you know, it's like, the first thing I thought of is like, remember how I always talk about that who stands out thing? Like one person on the dials at 7, that stands out. You know what I mean? It's like the little things are what will be easy to differentiate people from each other. You know, and as this thing gets bigger and bigger, it's small today in this little group, this bitch will grow. You know, and as I continue to work with people and coach people, I will be working with more of the ones that separate themselves. That's just kind of the way the road goes, and you know, it's going to be fun for those that figure it out. So we're going to continue to push without overwhelming everybody with too much stuff at once. But I think a live dial thing makes sense. Giovanni and I are talking a lot about his office structure and things he's doing over there. So we'll be sort of aligning that stuff. And I think if you just want to challenge yourself, get in there and do it, even if it means you got to use it as a way to hold yourself accountable. And that's probably the hardest part it's the hardest and the easiest. It's weird when you lock in and you commit, it's pretty fucking easy. I don't know who that message you shared with me, Giovanni, but the one where someone asked, like, they implied like you weren't going to respond because it was the weekend. You know, I don't remember and your answer was like, bro, business 7 days a week. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yes, I can talk to you. Whatever. You know what I mean? I don't remember the context of that message, but I remember you sending it to me. And, you know, that's not for everybody. You know, I get that piece. But the ones that tend to entertain that and operate that way, separate themselves over time. And then, you know, hell, getting to do recruiting calls on a boat probably didn't suck. You know. So y'all keep pounding it there. We'll start with the live dial thing, and then we'll kind of go from there. And I don't think they have to do anything, Giovanni, right? They just hit the fucking button. There's nothing I need to explain.
You just jump in.
Just go to that channel that says live dial and start. That's it. Cool.
You might want to unmute yourself. That's about it.
Say again.
You might want to unmute yourself. That's about it.
Yeah. You can do video in there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Both of my agents have theirs on too. So
Yeah. I love it. And I'll pop in too. You know what I mean? I'll just pop in on occasion, especially if it's in there. I'm in Discord a decent amount during the day. So I will definitely be hopping in on occasion if I see people in there, just to whatever. If I can help, I'll help. Cool. I have an interview, I think, at 3. Let me see if I have this sucker. I don't think it's on here though. I think I have to. All right. Any of y'all want to watch this thing? You can. I wonder if I can actually. Live recording. You in here, bro?
John, how you doing?
Good. How are you, dude?
Pretty good.
I dig
Can
it.
you hear me? Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect, bro. Yeah. What's cooking?
Not much. Had a slower start to the day. I had went to jiu-jitsu practice, came back, and now we're here.
Can y'all hear that okay? Cool. You went to so you kick people's asses for fun.
It's a new hobby that I've been doing for about 2 years now, and yeah, it's fun.
I love it. I don't know the difference between them, but that's MMA stuff, right? When you
Yeah, it's a little bit of a grappling and I call it hard intense yoga or violent yoga.
What made you want to start beating people up?
Honestly, you know what? It was one of my best friends. He was following up with me, and for about 8 months, he's like, "Hey, dude, you got to come on and check this out." And I would just be like, "Yeah, I'll go." And finally, one day I went, and I loved it.
Yeah, got it. That's dope. That's how I got started in CrossFit. Actually, had a buddy doing it, so I do that. I don't fight. I'm like, I'm good. No thanks. I dig it. Cool. So tell me, obviously we were chatting a little bit. I remember the DM somewhat, but I don't remember your history or background. Can you give me like short version of insurance side of things and kind of catch me up to speed a little bit? Right. Average sales about $1,000. You're going to make somewhere between 500 and 1,000 per sale. Just depends on how much premium, and again, skill set's a factor. Start where you want. You want to be conservative, do the math with $500. You want to be aggressive, do the math with 1,000. Right? But it's like, how many policies do I have to sell to make $7,500 a week? Right? At $1,000 a pop, it's 7. At 500 a pop, it's 15. So let's call it in the middle and say you're going to have to sell 12 a week. Fair? Kind of somewhere in the middle of the two. All right. Now, how do we sell 12 a week? Depends. Do you want to work 1 day a week or 7? I don't fucking know. You get to pick. You're independent.
Right.
Right. And what's cool is this, like, we're equally independent. So we both get to decide how this goes. But if you're trying to sell, 12 apps a week, dude, means you got to sell a policy basically every day, sometimes 2. Right.
Okay.
Again, what's the ratio going to be? I always tell people this, dude. A conservative number is about 25% of what you want to make. Okay. So if you want to make $7,500 to net, right? We top line 10 grand a week. If you spend a couple grand on leads, it's netting 7,500 is going to be a whole lot easier than if you go, I only want to put in 500. Right. So if I go a couple grand to make 10, so then the question is, would you exchange 2 grand for 10 grand if you knew how to do it?
Yeah.
Right. The variable is how aggressive do you want to be and what risk are you willing to take on yourself?
Okay.
My dude, if she has any questions, let me know.
Okay, perfect.
I don't know. See you.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right, later, bro. All right. There you go. You ready to get on the next one, Giovanni? That's all I got. I'll chop that up. I'll have Reese chop it up and we'll save it somewhere in the team chat separate as an interview. And then I'll send it to Giovanni so you can put it in chat GPT.
I was just about to say, bro, I'll just do it myself.
I know where you're going, bro.
I'll just
Let's jump on the other one because I'm like 2 minutes late. All right, y'all, hit me up if you need anything.
You know what I mean? If I'm trying to explain to you what my yard or my house looks like and you can't come to it, and you've been at my house. Granted, been at night, but I think you get the gist. Imagine I call you, I'm like, I want a landscaping quote, and you fuck up and go $100 a month. Oh, you're gonna be pissed when you get in my driveway. You know what I mean? Think about the level of detail you're gonna want to know from me before you could give me quotes over the phone. And it's the same concept.
Got it.
Make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad you hopped on when you did.
Yeah, there you go, bro.
I'll get in every now and again. Fuck with y'all. Give you a little bit of feedback. I mean, I like that you're out there doing it. And just again, keep in mind, this is normal. Now, what do some agents do here? Because I said stuff about training and in-home and why and all that. Dude, don't stop and now start going and studying shit. Just keep hammering the phones. You know what I mean? And now tweak it. And then offline, what I would recommend you do for the next couple of days, every night, after you get done with your day, pay attention to how well your why went. Grade yourself, scale of 1 to 5. How well did I get that information? And then at night, go study a few videos on that particular topic only.
Okay.
Just finding the why. That's it. And start there. If you can get that piece down, the next piece is a lot easier.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Hopefully it helps. Did you just close one, Tyler, right before that? Thought I heard you saying someone with issue date in a couple days.
Yeah, I had to fucking modify a contract for mutual.
Got it. It's good. Right. Beats not
can I ask you
modifying
a quick
one.
question before you hop off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just on the same thing. Something that happens a lot in here is when we're getting into the why.
Yeah.
It's not that those questions aren't being asked, but when the customer, you can tell they're getting uncomfortable and don't want to ask.
Mm.
What are you saying right there to push?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I'm setting the stage first, right? So when we get started, if I'm with you, I'm like, hey, Tyler, quick question. Before we get started, kind of the way this thing works, just so I can explain it. One, I don't want you to have to do this all the time. This is not going to be like a fancy presentation and PowerPoints and stuff like that. I'm just going to help you figure out this insurance deal. But there are hundreds of options. And I don't want to like waste a shit ton of your time because I assume you value your time. It might sound counterintuitive, but do you mind if I spend like 5 or 10 minutes just asking you a handful of questions about your situation and financial stuff and things like that, just so I can navigate? It'll save us like an hour on the back end. If I can spend 5 or 10 minutes just asking you a couple questions, that way I make sure I quote you the right thing, because quotes are no good if you can't actually get the coverage. No one's going to say no to that. Does that make sense?
I like that.
And then, so it's setting the stage first before you do it. And I could give you 100 analogies where that makes sense. Some of them would be normal, and some of them would be like, I probably shouldn't say that. You know? But if you set the stage first and they give you permission, now you have permission to do whatever you want. The reason why it gets uncomfortable typically is because no one asked permission. You didn't get the okay to do it. You know? So once you get the okay to do it, that eliminates like 90+% of the awkwardness. And then if they do get awkward, do not call them out. You know, it's like, hey, if I start asking questions about like, tell me a little bit more about what would happen. Now, some of the questions aren't that deep. The only time I'll push more is when they're trying to bullshit me. But if they were to get squirrely about it, I go, listen, I know this is like weird, uncomfortable stuff no one really talks about. But it's important because the reality is this is real life and you're going to pass away one day and I'm going to be left to handle this shit with your family. You're not going to be here. So I have to understand this stuff because your family's going to call me. And if they call me and I didn't take care of your family the way you wanted to because I didn't ask questions, is that my fault or your fault? I think it's my fault. So fair to say you want your family to be in the best situation, correct? You know? And that help?
100%. Not complicated.
Hey. Oops. Hello. Hey. Hey, my name's Brayden. I'm calling on behalf of my boss Tyler about the form you filled out regarding the final expense life insurance. Is there a time we can set up an appointment for you? Okay. What did you say?
What'd she say?
She said she already had it through her husband's work.
So what did you say?
She hung up. I couldn't say anything.
Okay. Next time, I don't have fast. Try to jump her. Like
what I said, like I already asked her what time. Could we schedule an appointment today? Like I got through that far, and then she was like, "Sorry to waste your time. My husband already has it through his work." And
so when you hear that, sorry to waste my time into it, you know someone to say fucking no, and you're gonna hear the rest of it when you're talking. So try to. It's gonna be weird at first, but try to interrupt her mid sentence and be like, that's exactly why I'm calling.
Okay.
And these are just programs outside of the work for after your husband retires that you requested information on, whatever, or he did. I don't know who it was for. My manager, Tyler, go over everything. I just set the appointment.
Okay.
So, what it is, there's no medical exam. Really, it's just some basic questions because these days, what they do, when we get into the medical questions, they'll actually do a check through the medical information bureau. So that's what keeps you from having to do any kind of medical exam. So the questions are more so that we know which carrier to put the application in with. There's certain carriers that'll still approve you with different things. Yeah.
Nicole, you dial them?
Yeah. So that's kind of the reason we do those. I don't want to waste your time and send up an application with somebody that would decline it. Yeah. Yeah. I certainly don't want to waste any of your time. So we like to keep it real. All right. So now, just so I'm kind of knowing where to look and what kind of coverage we're looking at. So I mean, God forbid you passed away tomorrow, who would be the beneficiary? Would it be a spouse or family?
Questions at all for anybody, anything. It can be scenario specific. I don't care if it's script. I don't care if it's in home. I don't care if it's fucking elementary school question. While I'm on here, Giovanni,
I asked one, bro.
I'm shocked, bro.
Yeah, it's only me and you fucking one-on-one every time. Weird. I was gonna ask, what's for a new agent or for a regular agent? What do you think they should intentionally be doing to produce better? Like, what's the number one thing you think they should be focusing on?
Lead flow. Period. Lead flow. If you don't have lead flow down, you're fucked. Everything else can be perfect. You can have the best script. You can have the best leads. You can have the best mindset. You can have the best fucking everything. If you don't have lead flow down, you're fucked in this game. And I see when people come in, that's the biggest hurdle getting started, is making sure they have the quantity of preferably new people coming in, right? At least new to them. If you're broke, you need at least new leads to you. I'd be stupid if I didn't pretend that new leads in general were better than age leads. But like I've always said, new leads don't make you good. So if you suck, you're still going to suck on new leads. Will you trip over a few more by mistake? Yep, for sure. If you got some money and you want to take the risk and you just want to kind of get through that process quicker, new leads, even up front, are great. If you're broke, to me, it's more about at-bats than it is the age of the lead. Give me 10 new leads or 100 old leads. I'm saying take the 100 old leads all day long. Right? But again, our goal is to not really hire a ton of people who are broke as fuck either. And if we do, they're going to understand the climb to get out of broke as fuck to being able to have real lead flow. They're going to have to eat shit for a few weeks, and it's going to suck. And they're going to be on the phone a lot, and they're going to get rejected a lot, and they're going to have to go through that phase until they can get the lead flow game down. The ones that kill it, dude, they master lead flow. I mean, that's by far the number one part of this game. It's far too many people get stuck on age leads far too long, and it's a brutal career that way. It's like, I don't know, fucking going around and panhandling for money every day. I know people that make good money doing that, but it doesn't mean it's good. It fucking sucks. So lead flow for sure is number one. And then it's Amanda's probably giggling in the background, and Reese, because it's half my speech at 8% is this part. But from lead flow, then it's working them right and getting in the right amount of activity. And I knew these fuckers were like, he's going to give a speech now. And I'm not, because I'm going to do it later for you and record it. I promise, Reese and Amanda, who's stressing out. But yeah, that's always been mine, and those that have watched me for a long time, it's just me redoing a talk that I've done before, repackaging it and making it new. But yeah, dude, leads for sure. Again, we could argue all kinds of other things and I can make points, but lead flow to me is the most important part for sure. And as people are hiring, that's the most important part to teach, which you've all watched me do that, about front loading it and put money up front. You know what I mean? It's like, you want to get started quick. You need a lot of people to call. If you don't have a lot of people to call, you physically can't do this full time. And the biggest flaw I see in the industry as a whole is well over 90% of agents that say they're full-time don't actually work this business full-time at all. The industry is inundated with part-time, mediocre people. And it's for me, I just learned how to do the timing of it right. And for our group, we're going to stick to that 40 hours of money-making activity thing. You know what I mean? Which is prospecting and presenting. If you can't get 40 hours making phone calls and presenting, if you want to count recruiting, fine, if that's your thing. 40 hours of just those things like it was fucking timed, your whole world will change if you do that. If you literally had a timer next to you, and when the phone was ringing or speaking to someone, there was a timer on. And when their phone disconnects, you turn the timer off. The only time the timer's running is if you're listening to a ringtone or listening to a human. If you get 40 hours of that every week, you will fucking crush it in the space. Most people don't, and that's why I keep teaching it. I'm like, I don't know. Could I teach the other stuff? Sure. But I don't really get a lot of joy out of teaching a guy who works 10 hours a week how to have a magic closing script. It fucking makes me want to bang their head against the wall. I'd rather take a guy that works 40 hours a week and writes $4,000 a week and teach him in the 40 hours how to write $12,000 a week versus try to take the guy that's fucking making 18 phone calls or seeing 6 people and try to get him so good. You know what I mean? It's like, give me the activity first, then my job's easy. Your job's easy. Because again, what we say, and those of you that are confused, if you listen to these live dials, some of the shit that works, you'd be like, there's no way that he booked an appointment saying that. So hopefully that helps.
If you're in the insurance space and trying to build an agency, or you're trying to break records in sales, just hit new levels, new heights, click the link below to apply to my consulting and coaching program that I have out there. I'm helping tons of people get to new levels, get to new income heights, help them build their teams, put systems in place, staffing stuff, recruiting processes, automations, and just teaching people how to get to a point where they're selling on their own pen, 30, 40, 50 grand a month. And if they're building a team, teaching how to have an effective structure to your insurance agency for the most profitability you can. There is an application process. I'm only looking to work with high-end people who really want to make big things happen. A couple recent clients that we've had in the coaching program. One dude as an individual went from selling $8,000 a month, barely getting by, about to quit the industry, found the book, hit me up direct, started a coaching program, went to 35K his first month, has issued 150K in the last 90 days, and has changed the trajectory of his career. Working with another agency builder, very first month went from doing $800,000 a month to almost 1.1 million. We added 10 or 15% production in 30 days and continue to work on things there. So if you're interested, click the link, apply, and if you're fit, I'll reach out.
Yo, Kyla, didn't you raise your hand, Kyla?
Yeah, I did. So it's not necessarily a question, but it was an aha moment that I had last week.
Sure.
That I'll share with the crowd to maybe it'll help. So I was sitting with someone, and I'll keep it super short. I had forgotten to ask a really a big question that ended up making her go GI. And I wasted so much time of just sitting there and doing applications, this, that, and the third. And as soon as I got in the car, I had texted Gio and I was like, I don't know why she didn't tell me this. She had gone to rehab for drug use. And I was like, I don't know why she didn't tell me this, that, and whatever. And I had to take a step back and be like, yo, that was my fault. And I feel like it would be helpful for others on the call to know when to say it was your fault. 99% of the time it's your fault because I didn't tell her. So if that helps anyone, so you don't mess up and waste time like I did.
Sure.
That's my ad.
It's good. Yeah, and I assume it's when you learn things like that, put that in to your bag for something you use on the next thing. You know what I mean? Something you always take care of there. That's the thing about this game is you're always going to make mistakes. Always. Dude, I fuck up every day something. It's part of the game, but what I think the ones that end up making it do different than the ones that don't, it's the ones that don't keep making repeated mistakes. It's mistakes are one of the most powerful things you can do. There's this weird, people don't want to make any mistakes first. And then when they do make them, they want to pretend they didn't. So they blame someone or something else. That's typically the game. So that's one stack of agents. Then the other stack of agents are like, I know I'm going to fuck up along the way. I just need someone here to help me when I have questions. That's who we're looking for. Right? And that's just piece of it. So you're gonna mess this up. I mean, hell, I messed up. I wrote 2 annuities last month. And I ain't done one in so long. I fucked it up like 17 times. You know what I mean? But I was just like, I'm okay with it, just going through the process. Hell, Amanda's texting me now trying to get some, hell, I think it's Braden's policy, trying to get it finalized because I missed signing something stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, but now if I read it, I'd be like, oh, I'll remember that next time. You know, so yeah, just keep at it, girl. Doing good things. Appreciate you sharing. And y'all should, I think it'd be something for y'all to share too. Like maybe we do this as a group every week, maybe post something in the Discord, like one lesson you learned from this week that you're going to change going forward. And Brian, it can't always be, I'm going to get my lead flow right next week. You need a new one.
Part of this game is skill set. A big part of this game is skill set. The only thing I try to let people know is the skill set doesn't mean shit if you sit on your couch all day and don't work. So I refuse to teach the skill set to people who aren't doing the work. I just refuse. I don't care that you want to know it before you do it. I don't care. I literally don't give a shit because there's no way to know it before you do it. Give me something in life you can know before you do, and you won't come up with any. You know, so it's getting those fears out with people. But there is a massive piece to this game that helped me a ton is when I learned the skill set of this game. And what I see happen across the board is people do the reps, but then they miss the other piece, which is you then have to get better at those reps. And part of getting better at those reps is reviewing your shit. You know, so as you do your 40 hours of money-making activity, the overtime is now going to be, all right, let me record some of this stuff. Let me listen to myself. Let me hear my presentation compared to pick a training. You know, hell, you don't even have to listen to a training. When you hear yourself, you're going to be like, oh God, that's why they didn't buy. Or you start to, you understand the structure of an appointment. And when you listen to yours, it's like, it kind of goes all over the place. So I would say that the part that not only some of y'all need to continue to tweak, but we definitely have to teach at the right moment is to really start to understand the structure of any kind of appointment. I don't care if it's telesales. I don't care if it's in-home. I don't care if it's an appointment or a one-call close. None of that shit matters. At the end of the day, if you can't very quickly build some type of likability, it's going to be really hard for people to trust you. So you have to build likability and trust really fast, right? That's why we use examples of like, hey, I'm working with 200 families a week. This only takes 10 or 15 minutes. Like that shows authority in who you are. When you're sitting with clients and you're like, hey, most of the clients in your situation that I deal with do ABC. That's implied experience, right? When you tell stories about when I sat with Susan and she had a mortgage just like yours and her family was this way and here's what we did, that builds trust instantly, right? When you come in off the rip and you're mumbling your words and stuttering your words, like again, week 1, week 2, week 3, it's part of the process. But you're in this thing a month and you still don't know what to say when they say they're not interested and you're still stuttering, it just says you don't study your craft enough. That's all it is, you know, or when you don't know how to deal with certain underwriting situations, maybe part of it you're new. Most agents, especially if you've been here more than a couple months, it's because you don't study your craft, right? You should know basic underwriting. Anybody that's done this for, I don't know, you go see 30, 40, 50 people, you realize you get all the same shit. I think that was you, Ramey, that posted the other day when I told someone to go get 50 objections. And you were like, I don't think there's 50. I'm like, no, there's not 50. I want them to, of the 50, there were really only 4. They just got it multiple times or in different ways. And so I think learning how to build trust and authority is important. And you can pay attention to the people that sell at a high level and see their intros into conversations and how they do it. So as we're studying and listening to you, y'all should be listening to the people at the top of the leaderboard and going, shit, they say it different. Their tone is different. Their delivery is different. The timing is different.
You can say about fucking anything to someone if you crack a smile after. I say some of the most direct, insane. If y'all saw the post, that guy that did the door knock thing, he was like, no soliciting, door knock sign. If you haven't read it, go read the Discord. My answer back to him, most people would be like, you say that to people? I'm like, yo, if you've been around me, I say crazy shit to everyone, but I do it with humor and I do it like not demeaning, and I'm not trying to belittle people. I can make fun of it and make light of it. And I can be really direct and people receive it different. That's a learned skill. It takes time and reps. But at its core, understand with time, you have to build trust and likability pretty quick. It doesn't mean you need to talk to people for 45 minutes before you get into business, because I can do it in 30 seconds. And a lot of you know how to do that in a different setting. Walk into a friend's party with strangers. How quick can you connect with people? Go to whatever you do on the weekend and hang out with people. Like how well can you converse with people you don't know? Like just the ability to, or like, I don't know, I always use this example. When I was taking my oldest daughter to tour, she got a full ride scholarship to Ohio State. And when I took her there to go on the tour of the college, if you go to any college tour, they have very formal tours. You show up at 12 and there's 47 people there and you all walk around and do it together, and that ain't my jam. I'm not walking around with 30 families touring a fucking college. I'm going to walk around the college and go see it myself. It's just who I am. And so we go to visit this one building at Ohio State, and it's a massive campus. And Shaylee was like, we can't go in there. I'm like, why? She goes, it's locked. I'm like, okay, watch this. So we just stand there, and I wait till you can see someone leaving. And I walk to hit the door the same time they open the door to leave. I just walk in the door. I'm like, oh, thank you. And I just walk in the door like I belong there. And dude, we got in every building on Ohio State's campus doing that, just because my demeanor said I should be there. Whereas if like my wife was there, she'd be like nervous and hesitant to open the door. And she might be like, is it okay if I come in? Like that ain't the way to get in a building without a authority to get in a building. And communicating with people is very similar. So you should act like you've been there. And it does get easier with reps, naturally. I would say next big thing that's critical in any type of sales situation is really setting the stage and setting expectations. You know, people get squirrely when you start asking them financial questions when you didn't tell them you were going to ask them financial questions. People get squirrely about giving you a check or their social when you didn't explain that was part of the process. When they find out they have to pay, when you're asking them to pay, that's the first time. And you can go, common sense says they should know that. No, in their head, they have a full fucking game plan to tell you they want to think about it before y'all get on the phone. They have a plan. If you don't know that, you're missing that. Like their full plan is they're not confused. You're trying to sell them insurance. And before that call, they have something in their mind that they're going to say to be able to procrastinate more. Right. And so your job is to set expectations about how this thing is going to go. You know, and you hear the top guys do it. I don't necessarily need to get into the full script, but a lot of people skip that. Here's who I am and here's what we're going to do today. It's kind of how it goes. You know what I mean? And learning how to articulate that in a very short window it is insanely valuable. Hell, if I have a dentist appointment tomorrow. When I go to the dentist, every fucking time I go to the dentist, they're like, hey, we're going to go in this room and we're going to do x-rays first. I need to put this thing on you. We're going to put the thing in your mouth and we're going to take a bunch of pictures. Then we're going to go in the other room and you're going to sit down on the chair and they're going to numb your mouth and blah, blah. And they explain everything. And then when they explain it, then they execute on it. Right. So I think explaining the process to people, and it doesn't have to be intricate. You know what I mean? Hey, you know, Giovanni, kind of the way this thing works is I'm going to go through and ask you some questions, a little bit about you personally, a little bit about you financially, because there's a lot of products out there. I know some people just want quotes, which is weird because there's like 300 different products. And I know you don't want me to spend 4.5 hours here quoting you everything. So are you good if I ask you some questions so we can save you a bunch of time? And I certainly don't have a PowerPoint presentation. So I hope you're okay if we just, instead of a big sales pitch, that I just ask you some questions to help you figure it out. Is that fair? Like, who the fuck says no to that? You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to say no to that thing. So that opens the gate for you to be able to ask whatever you want. And I knocked out and if you didn't catch it, this thing's recording, go back and listen to it. I knocked out like 4 objections in 2 sentences that I'm worried about later. Price shopping, the think about it, the why I have to ask thing, getting quote. Like my sentence is very intentional to knock those fears out. And I also want them paying attention to me, right? Have you ever like been in a situation, especially all that are new, where you are trying to present to a client and they're talking, but the only thing you're doing is thinking about what you're going to say next? It's bad. It also happens in the reverse, where if you don't set the stage, you're talking and moving your lips, and all they're thinking about is, when is this fucker gonna ask me for money? What happens next? Oh my God, why is he asking that? And they're not engaged in the conversation, right? So you have to be actively listening to people. And ideally, you want to ease people's concerns and knock down those fears that we know they have, at least the generic ones that most people have. That way they can also be actively listening and participating in the conversation with you. Because just like you don't pay attention to them, there's also many times they ain't fucking paying attention to you. You know, so it's making sure that we have that connection point, that the communication is clear. So for me, it's setting the stage, but during setting that stage, it's super intentional. Even booking appointments. You know, one of the biggest things we used to get in field sales, obviously, Giovanni, is, why do you have to come see me? Can't you just send it to me? So when we booked an appointment, we'd be like, hey, this process is really simple. They send me out to take a look at you to make sure there's no fraud going on, make sure you're not 500 pounds, and make sure that you fit some health. It takes like 5 minutes. I just got to ask you some questions, and they make me say that I saw you. Anyway, do you prefer mornings or afternoons? And it was preventing them from saying, can't you just come out? Or can't you just send it to me? Can't you email it to me? We put that in the presentation to prevent that objection. And so the presentation part is the same. So I'd say setting expectations is going to be a massive piece. And again, it's what happens next, right? So then once you explain what happens next, and I tend to do it in 2 phases. I tend to explain like the health question part and the find a product part first. I tend to fall into not explaining the full necessarily money thing yet. Some people like to go, hey, I need your banking. I need this. I need that. I didn't fall in. They work. I didn't fall into that. I broke it up into two steps personally. And so I explain the first part of the appointment, and then I just go through, because the reality is, you know, people have always said, you say it only takes 10 to 15 minutes. You're lying to them. Oh no, I can find out if they're eligible in fucking 4 minutes. So I'm not lying. I'm there to see if you qualify for anything and if you're eligible. Because if you're not, and you're not willing to take care of your family, and or you're not eligible, I'm out in under 10 minutes for sure. Now, if you choose as the client to ask more questions, and you choose to proceed in the process that I then explain next for the buying process, that's on them, that I'm there longer than the initial, right? And so many people get into booking this thing and they want to book the whole thing. They want to know all the health info, and they want to make sure they have a bank account, and they want to make sure they have all this stuff. And I'm like, too much too soon. You know, again, I could use some really inappropriate dating examples. It's like, I mean, before you go on your first date, like, hey, Kyla, dude starts asking you, like, and again, I'm going to be really inappropriate, but like, hey, do you sleep with dudes on your first date? You'd be like, that's kind of a sticky question to ask. Like, I don't even know you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of the equivalent of what people do in the sales side, is they want to be married to the client too soon because they have fears of going through this presentation with the unknown. You know, so for me, I didn't get too deep. I go through the financial stuff and the health stuff. And this piece, people need to slow down. Like, just straight up, dude, Zach didn't even fucking do it on the call I listened to. He was quoting people, and I was like, why does he need insurance? And he went, hold on. Hey, Steve, why do you need insurance? I was like, what? But I also remember doing that when I was new too, you know? And again, we got to keep in mind, if we're selling 100 grand or 20 grand for 80 bucks a month, if that's all you're selling is face amount for premium, this is going to be a brutal industry. What we need to do is sell solution for premium. And you can't get solution if they don't tell you the problems. And you can't get the problems if you don't ask questions. Now, what questions do I ask? Fucking hang around. There's a lot of them. But you can be very targeted. So for me, I learned how to, with the studying of my craft, and really analyzing my in-home. And I don't do this. The mistake some people make is they do this shit instead of working. So this stuff was at 11, 12, midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, like studying off hours, weekends when I'm not working, whatever, and so as you start to get into this health and financial discovery, that's where it's at. And that's kind of the why, if you will. Like, why are we talking? What are you looking for? That's by far the most important piece that you have to do next, that most people struggle with because they have fears of asking those questions. But again, I set the stage for it. I told them why I'm doing it, and they said yes to it. So now I just have to really understand who the client is. The way, and the way I try to explain it, and I think I said this to Zach the other day, is if I picture it in my head like a movie, and I picture it, if I don't ask enough questions to understand what it would look like if they dropped dead, like while we were talking, right? Think about if someone, you're literally conversing and someone, they just fucking die on the kitchen floor. Dude, their whole life changes from that point. Everyone around them, everything changes. And there's things that have to happen. Like, someone has to fucking find them. Everyone that dies, someone finds them. And then the someone that finds them then has to call someone else, because they're typically not the person who brings them to the, you know what I mean? Like, so one of the questions I used to ask people is like, especially the ones where they were like, I don't have any family. I don't know. We'd be okay. I just, I don't really know what we do, da, da, da. If they were like vague, I would ask that way. I'd be like, you have no family. Dude, Giovanni, if you drop dead on your kitchen floor, hey, who's the first person that's going to notice? And I wait. If they give me that bullshit where they don't have a person, who's the first person that's going to notice you're dead? Sometimes it's the fucking neighbor, dude. You know what I mean? I've heard some crazy stories where the people don't have close family and don't, like, that can be true. And I'm like, all right, well, then what happens next? Who do they call to let know you're dead? Who's going to pay for, like, I don't know, your final credit card bills or your kids' tuition or whatever the things are? I can ask very pointed, very direct questions so I don't have to ask 100 questions, right? So when I started analyzing my stuff, I learned what, and as you're doing this presentation, paying attention to the reactions and the responses you get are important, right? You start asking questions and the responses aren't what you think they should be. That means your question probably sucked. When I get a question that shows like a light bulb moment or fear, or people start getting nervous, or that, has anyone ever had a client ask you to stop killing them in the presentation? Like, can you please stop killing me? No one ever had that. I used to get it a handful of times a month, because I'd always be like, if you drop dead in your kitchen, hey, if you were driving home and some dipshit texting and driving smashed into you and you go off an embankment and die, and then you get that knock on the door. I've literally had people beg me to stop killing them in these scenarios because it brings up real emotion, right? Because it's fucking real. We all either know someone directly or we've heard stories of people dying unexpectedly in a flash. So I don't let people pretend that's not a thing, right? And so as I'm going through this financial and health issue, I'm doing a couple things. I'm trying to knock out pricing issues. I'm trying to knock out whether or not they're broke or not. I'm trying to knock out health and underwriting issues. I'm trying to deal with all that shit up front. And, when you start understanding how to ask questions about, like, I find it funny how many agents make sale. And I'm not saying you have to do this on every sale, but I find it funny how many agents leave an appointment and they don't have a clue how much money a client makes. They don't know where their money comes from. They don't know how much money they have in savings. They don't know anything. And I'm like, and you're confused why you got an objection? You don't know shit. What did you present them? It's like I go to the mechanic and I'm like, hey, can you fix my car? And he goes, yep, just leave it there. We'll fix it. And lets me go home. They're like, yeah, what are you going to fix, bro? I gave him no info. You know what I mean? Or like some people go, I heard one yesterday where he goes, when someone was like, hey, just give me the price. and obviously we can reason why we can't just give a price. He countered back to what they do for a living. And in the example, the client was an accountant. And he goes, all right, if I just asked you to give me the pricing for taxes, do my taxes this year, what would it be? Oh, you mean it depends on how many businesses you have and how many dependents you have and how many 1099s you have and how many W-2s you have. And you mean there's a lot of circumstances that determine what it costs to do taxes. And no one's confused this is the same, but they're going to trick you into giving them info if you're willing to do it. So you just got to understand that like common sense prevails. If you're out there hungry looking for an opportunity and you're like, damn, I want in, you ain't got to have long because we're building something big and we're going to do it without you. If you are interested at all in joining any part of this journey, want to be part of what we're putting together from a culture standpoint, production standpoint, profitability standpoint, follow along, go to johnwetmore.com/discord or shoot me a direct DM on Instagram and I will get back to you quick. See you.